Hey guys, today we're playing Simpsons, the arcade game. I recorded this a long time ago. Once I'm done recording this, I will probably erase the original video because I wasn't happy with it. There was something wrong with the recording software, and plus you'll see more of the game. If I have it my way, hopefully I'll finish this game in this video, so it's going to be a long video, more than likely. Of course, you'll know all this by looking at the bottom of the screen to see how long it is, so it's whatever. You have the option of doing sharp graphics, but I pushed the wrong thing. I don't ever like the smooth graphics option on these arcade remakes. That should be good. And local game. Once you beat the game, you actually can play the Japanese ROM, and it's slightly different. It's a little bit more difficult, and I think Bart's shirt is blue like it is on the top picture. I could be wrong. I'm gonna put it on free play just for the sake of this video. Alright, we'll continue. So this was usually a 4-player game. I think there were some arcade units that only let you play as 2 players, but most of the time it was 4 players. I remember seeing this game for the first time, as well as the Ninja Turtles game for the first time at a miniature golf station. A miniature golf place, course, whatever. Like, the outside was a miniature golf place and the inside was an arcade, and they had a ton of arcade games. Most of them I don't remember. I do remember them having Karate Champ, and I played that and it was terrible. I know a lot of people defend that game. I hate it. Well, I will give it credit for kind of helping start the fighting genre. I'm not sure if the original Street Fighter was out yet. As you can tell, this runs on the same engine as X-Men and the Ninja Turtles game. I was pretty blown away by the voice clips and the sound and everything, because, I mean, the only home console I had was an NES. Unlike a lot of you overseas that had 16-bit computers, we only had 8-bit consoles for the most part, unless you were rich and had an Amiga or something, but usually that was not the case. This game was never ported to the consoles for some reason. Really, the only arcade games that seem to get ported to the home that were Konami games were the Ninja Turtle games. But X-Men and this game didn't really get ported. I like how huge the sprites are. That's something that wasn't common for somebody who played an NES game. If I wasn't recording this, I'd have a subwoofer turned up. In all Konami games, the characters are beat 'em up games. The characters start to flash when their health gets weak. The actors from the show actually did record their voice with this. I think this character was made up for the game. I was a fan of The Simpsons the first decade it was on, because I felt like the stories and stuff were more serious and they actually had a beginning and end. The last time I saw The Simpsons, they were actually kind of retarded. Alright, now that I beat that, back to what I was saying, the shows are actually kind of retarded now because they don't really have a storyline that goes anywhere. Everything's played for comedic value. Hit buttons.
Ready? Go!
I was never good at this. Ugh. It was easier in the arcade, but I remember on the Sega Genesis I never could do. The tester might think my joints do not let me push buttons really fast. So now we're on Krusty Land. It was nice to play a good Simpsons game because the ones on the NES sucks. All three of them. Which the first one was Bart's. I guess if I had to pick one, the one that I liked the most was Bart's versus the Space Mutants. And then there was Bart versus the World. And then Bart Radioactive Man. I don't know if it's versus Radioactive Man. There's some scaling effects for you where you're zooming in. There's Dr. Marvin Monroe that died. I remember the first episode seeing that when I was a kid, where they're beating each other with the foam bats, and they found out that they could take the foam off and it actually hurt each other. And then they had the electrotherapy, and the animation was kind of shoddy, so it was amusing when they got electrocuted, like all the lines got super squiggly. I have the third season on DVD, which was one of the better seasons, in my opinion, around that time. And I just like the imperfections of the animation. You could tell they're actually hand-drawn and not done with a computer wiggle joystick. I'm usually better at this game. I know that's easy to say, but it is hard to talk and play. I used to think, oh, I could do a so much better job when I watched other people's videos, but once I started doing it, I was dead wrong. Sorry, the phone was on ringing. I don't know if you could hear it. I'm trying to hear who it was. Oops, wrong button. I forgot what the continue button was. This boss looks really cool, but I'm not quite sure what the hell it is. It looks like a balloon of some type. Kind of reminds me of that thing from Super Mario World. One thing about this game, I will say, even to this day, sometimes you'll walk into pizza parlors and out of all the arcade games, aside like Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man, a lot of times it's not uncommon to see this as one of the few arcade games that are still around at places. Even though it's a licensed game, it's probably one of the most popular. And it might be because the Simpsons have been on for so long. It's like a pop culture thing. I don't know, but this arcade game is standing the test of time. And I usually don't buy stuff from the PlayStation Network arcade, but I've waited for a home port of this for so long it wasn't funny. Now I played a Commodore 64 port and one on DOS. The DOS one was okay. The sound sucked on it and the graphics weren't good, but it was a lot better than the Commodore 64 one. And I guess some of the gameplay was intact, but it didn't have the graphics and the scaling and the super bass sound of the arcade game. I don't see why there isn't any reason why this couldn't be brought to the Super Nintendo. I think this could have easily been ported to the Super Nintendo like Turtles in Time, so I believe that ran on the same engine. Oh, they have umbrellas. It's so weird, like, when I remember this game, I always think of it being like exactly like perfect graphic wise, like everything looked like perfect drawings. I didn't notice all the pixels and the sprites and everything. Not that it's bad, I really like sprite artwork, and I always like the dramatic music of the arcade games. If you ever play a console game, the music is never really dramatic. I don't know whether they're supposed to be dancing like they're from the Thriller video or not, but it kind of looks like it. I always like how video games take liberties with the licensing. Like I'm in a graveyard fighting zombies. I can't remember if they had the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episodes out when they made this game. They probably did. I don't remember zombies being in the first couple of years or whatever. I remember I first saw the Treehouse of Horrors episode. The first segment with the haunted house scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. When the walls were bleeding and the house was talking and they had that little portal. They were trying to do a parody of the Amityville and the Poltergeist movies at the same time. And the house rather imploded in on itself than live with them. And they had like the Indian burial ground under their house and everything. I guess as a kid it scared me because it was unexpected. I didn't expect blood and to have like a darker tone. The rest of the episodes are kind of silly on it, or segues, because it was kind of like a Tales of the Crypt or Creep Show sort of thing. Creep Show, now that's an underrated movie. Enemy designs in this are kind of weird. This is the most athletic you will ever see Homer be. I'm surprised. I know that the Simpsons weren't out that long when this game came out, but for bosses, I knew they could have used more characters than these made-up characters, because these guys look kind of ridiculous. This is an arcade game that if you had enough quarters, you could beat it. He kind of dresses like me when I was a kid. My mom would go to flea markets and buy flea markets or yard sales when I was a little kid. I did grow into a lot of stuff, but when I first wore them, I never fit into the clothes. I mean, it does make sense you'll grow into them, like, when you're a certain age, like, everything you wear, like, is only wearable for, like, it seems like only a couple of months, and then you're outgrown. But I remember when I first wore the clothes, they would never fit. I had a weird style back then too. I remember I had Ghostbusters suspenders. Those ladies on the poster are actually from an episode where Marge thought Homer was cheating when he went to like some, I wouldn't call it a strip club, I don't know what we call it, like a dance club sort of thing where you'd watch the girls dance. It's a reference to that episode, at least I think it is. I don't remember much about it. And then there's a picture of that little alien thing that's been in some episodes. They forgot to color Barney's hair. I don't know if that's because of the game, or I don't remember if Barney had hair or not. That was a different color. Is he trying to give me that bottle or what? Come on. I have that Street Fighter arcade stick that you saw in some of the videos. This game is way easier when you use that. If you're curious, I seriously doubt that Moe's... What the hell is a baby doing? There's Bleeding Gums Murphy. He's dead too. All these good episodes I'm thinking back of. I couldn't tell you anything about the newer episodes, the last probably 10 years of The Simpsons. I think I saw the movie and that's about it. There's Aliens, there's another Konami game that was super fun that they never released for consoles. And I think part of it's because I think some companies had the licensing to do arcade games and some had the console games. I can't remember, either Activision or Acclaim had the license for The Simpsons. And that's probably why they couldn't release it on the NES. They probably had some weird deal. What a weird boss. Getting a fight at Drunk. Wonder if Matt Groening had anything to do with the character designs of some of these bosses. I hope I said his name right. There's a good chance I didn't. He's one of the people that has to have his name autographed on every piece of merchandise possible, even though he probably knows nothing about it. He'll stamp his autograph on it if it has to do with one of his properties. At least they did a good job to draw something that looks like it fit in the universe. There's a secret passageway in Moe's nobody knew about all this time. since I'm playing on unlimited with quarters, I won't be able to unlock the Japanese version, I don't think. But I didn't save my save when I went to switch PlayStations. It wasn't on the cloud save, so I start from scratch. But since I'm playing with unlimited quarters, I really don't get credit for anything. Like, there's a mode where you get 10 quarters, and playing on normal, that should usually be plenty, and that's what I played it on. I'm just playing on unlimited because I know I'm not going to be able to concentrate and talk at the same time as well as I could if I just played. Yo, why are you following me? Come on, you son of a bitch. I knocked them down. I don't even think those things weigh that much considering they're basically made out of paper. But I'll go for it. I think this whole level is supposed to reference that episode that where they thought Homer was Bigfoot. I think that was the third episode to ever air. I'm not sure. I was pretty young. I think it was like 5 or 6 when the Simpsons became popular. I can remember it like it's not that long ago. I'm 28 years old. And I just remember being a kid, I had this shitty TV, like, it had like a metal piece protruding out of it where a knob used to be glued to it. I thought it was great. My dad used to fix electronics, as I said, because he was one of the Nintendo certified people. He brought it home so I could play on my Nintendo in my room and not take up, I guess, the living room's television. After he swore off games and he accidentally erased his Legend of Zelda game he spent hours on. Otherwise, the NES would have stayed downstairs, I'm sure. Although having the Switch PlayStations and having all my Persona 4 saves and spending, I think I clocked in close to 80 hours. And knowing that I have to restart that all over again is pretty overwhelming. Luckily I have other games I can play, but I really wanted to finish Persona 4. I was really getting into it. But I just don't think I could deal with playing it over again right now. Because there is a lot of dialogue in that game. And there's no way to really quickly get to where you were. And you have to do a decent amount of grinding and picking out like here we go. You have to pick out the right personas and combine them. There's just so much to do, so much I work for, all gone. I saved the actual files, but I have no way of transferring them to my PlayStation 2 unless I get a Sony memory card reader, which I haven't seen one under $20–25 at the cheapest. And it's just hard for me to justify that a purchase for something I'm going to spend 10 seconds on and never use again. This level's weird. But it does capture the old animation style of the Simpsons I like. But that just might be because I'm nostalgically remember this game as a kid. I've always gotten excited when I've seen this game like at a pizza parlor or a 7-Eleven or something. I used to love the 7-Eleven when I was a kid. That was within walking distance. they still had comic books, which you have to go to a comic book store now, or a bookstore to buy comics, and it actually had arcade machines in it. That particular 7-Eleven never got the Simpsons arcade machine, but they did get Aliens. That was pretty cool. Even the grocery store, they got the Sega Spider-Man arcade game that was a beat-em-up that you never really see. I've only seen it twice in person in my entire life, and I've never seen a home port. I probably should do that if I ever get MAME to work. I mean, I can get it to work, but I mean the ROM. And then recording it. Because I don't know any other way to record it without using fraps, and a lot of the arcade games, my processor slows down with fraps. It's not, I don't have a decent enough processor even though the games are simple. Because I've tried to record the Aliens arcade game with little success, which really sucks, so I'd really like to show it to you. If I had a VCR, I could record it on a VHS or something. Actually, I don't think you do. Unless there's like some HDMI to AV conversion, it would probably look atrocious. I record it with a camera, but I don't have a good enough video camera that can record images on a TV without trying to auto adjust the color and keep up with it. The camera doesn't know what to do when it sees all the flashy colors. Can't yell at these guys for strange creative bosses. Back during this time, Konami was virtually untouchable. Yeah, I can't believe I never saw more of that Spider-Man game. It was really fun. I mean, it was as good as the X-Men game in my opinion, and it looked as good. Maybe not as good as the Konami beat-em-up. It was a pretty good beat-em-up by Sega that made a Spider-Man game. The only person I can remember you being able to play as is Hawkeye. That's about it. I want to remember Hawkeye being on there. I think you could play as Hawkeye. I don't remember what characters. It was a 4-player game. You could play as 2 or 3 other characters. I can't remember. I think I'm getting that and the Captain America games confused. Because they had Captain America and the Avengers. That was colorful. And we're waking out of our coma. I love the music to this game. This is pretty long for our arcade game.
Hey,
Hit
wake up and
buttons.
find Maggie. Ready? Go!
I'm not good at this. Did I win? I think I did. Oh my gosh. If somebody's really good at this game, I would hate waiting behind them because it's pretty long for an arcade game. Unless somebody was playing against each other like in a fighting game. Games usually didn't last that long. You got your turn pretty quick. Unless there was somebody stubborn that was determined to beat the game and spend a shitload of quarters on there. I believe this game came out during a time where it still was only 25 cents to play arcade games. I guess it depends on who owned the arcade, because I'm sure I've played 50 since I played this game too. Shouldn't really affect me that much because it was my parents' money, but whose ever money it was, it limited how many arcade games I got to play. I will have to admit, no matter how many times I went to the arcade, even during an era where they started to have the Naomi, is that what it was called? The hardware that the Dreamcast ran on? Like when Crazy Taxi and stuff came out, I still would play this game. Although Crazy Taxi blew my mind. I wasn't even sure if it was coming out on the Dreamcast, but since it was a Sega system... Oh, I hate this part. I figured since it was a Sega game, it would eventually come to Dreamcast, and it looked similar, and I was right. I was like, this game has to come out for home. I absolutely fell in love with it, but I will have to say it, Crazy Taxi was not the same without that loose steering wheel. It wasn't like one of those racing games or driving games where the steering wheel had feedback. It was like one where you could spin around. It was kind of loose, like the steering wheel for pole position. And it made it so much more fun. I get to throw a robot head. Those old guys are pretty hardcore. I only can hope to be that athletic when I'm that age. I hope they're not pushing themselves. They are kind of chunky. Prone to heart disease. I'm playing as Homer. I'm no health fanatic myself. I believe there was an episode where Homer had heart surgery. I can't remember though. What is it with ninjas and starfish? Is that a thing? And is there anything else as ninjas and starfish in it? I don't even know why I made that observation. Because this might be the only thing with it, but I just keep on feeling like I've seen that before. The last time I played this game, more than likely. And it's just in my subconscious. I don't know if they're supposed to be emulating the foot soldiers from Ninja Turtles or not. That's what they look like. They get away with creative freedom because it's a studio. Pretty in-depth studio. Like all our local stations are like usually one building with like a table and maybe a green screen with the weatherman. The news station's not too far from where I live. The only thing that's extravagant at the news station is I guess the broadcasting towers and the weather equipment, but that's about it. They don't have like sets and stuff. There's no live recorded TV shows or anything besides Wake Up Richmond or whatever the hell they have that comes out at 4 o'clock in the morning that nobody watches. I always give credit to the weatherman, not because he was good at telling the weather or he was capable of knowing what was going to happen weather-wise, but I was always impressed how coordinated he was with the green screen. It's almost like he was looking at the wall and actually saw what was on the screen. That's what impressed me the most. You would have never imagined he was actually behind a screen with nothing on it. I think that's what makes a good weatherman. When they used to have Good Morning America, Al Roker, he didn't have a green screen, no. Was Al Roker? No, it was that old guy that was heavy set. Maybe Al Roker did it too. I can't remember. But they didn't have a green screen. They just had freaking suns and clouds with tape on the back of it and stuck it to the wall. But the local news people, they had green screens. And it looked like the stuff was actually behind them. And you could point exactly to where it was. That's talent, my friend. That's real talent. Instead of getting these actors that have to interact with tennis balls and CGI movies, they should just get weathermen. They're way better at interacting with stuff that isn't really there. This little kabuki guy, his graphic design is kind of crappy. His face looks kind of weird. I know he's supposed to have makeup, but usually it's white. I know the Simpsons are yellow, but I mean, they can still have white face paint. Look, Krusty the Clown, he has white paint on. Alright, we're at the last level, I believe, if my memory serves me correct. Another wonderful cutscene brought to you by Konami.
Welcome to my world.
You know, they had some of the actors that did the voices from the game, but I guess they couldn't get the guy that does Smithers' voice. I don't know why they have why he's wearing a cape, but I do appreciate the little little atom design on it. At least I think that's what they're trying to draw on it. I'm sitting so close to the TV I can't tell. The trick is to throw these things at this guy and avoid the things that he throws at you. Like so. Wow, he looks like a rabbit shitting out round turds. Wonder how much Dan Constanello, whatever the hell his name is, that does Homer's voice, I can't even remember his name, got paid for that one line. I mean, they could at least try the Smithers voice, though. It doesn't sound anything like him. I don't remember if Smithers' voice sounded the same in the beginning. Like, cause Homer's voice was kind of different in the first season or so. He kind of sounded like Walter Matthau, and then he kind of went to his own thing. This was obviously later on because he sounds like Homer. Oh shit, that's kind of scary actually.
Welcome to your grave.
This reminds me of the Treehouse of Horrors episode where Smither gets crushed by like a robot or something. It might have been a Homer robot. He's trying to take Homer's body. And they advertise like a new episode was coming on, like when he stitched his head to Homer's body with Homer's head still attached to, I don't even know what you would call a monster that has two heads. They acted like there was gonna be like another episode with it on. When I was a kid, I didn't realize that was a joke.
Where do you think you're going?
Good old Konami game. You can't just have a final boss with one stage on it. I think the most exaggerated boss that had the most stages on it has to be the bosses on Smash TV. They hilariously have like too many stages. That shitty arcade game with Aerosmith on it, Revolution X, the final boss in that kind of had a Smash TV homage. I thought it was hilarious. Not only did the boss like have all these different forms, his arms would get blown off and like gallons of blood would squirt everywhere. Are you out of commission or you got one more thing going on? I can't remember. Now you got a cover. The trick is to jump a lot and look like you know what you're doing. So far that has not worked for me, but I feel like that's the trick. Oh, you son of This game is way more fun with other people. Ah, you're looking a little messed up there, my friend. You can actually do super moves with 2 players. I can't remember what you do, but you can combine each other to do certain things. Come on. God. I forgot how many different moves there are in this. You don't have your freaking bubble thing now. I think, like, just touching him, because he doesn't have that bubble on him, since he's a frail old man, it would kill him instantly. But no, somehow the suit makes his head strong. Wow. I'm sitting close to the TV and it's flashing like a bitch. I'm gonna have a seizure if I'm not careful. Come on, you son. Speaking of licensed games, I can't wait to play that South Park. It looks awesome. Traditional RPG written by the people who make the show, and it has the same art style. Like, I can't tell the difference between the screenshots in the show. It should have been done a long time ago, because I mean, it's not like they're pushing the technology there. I can't wait to play it. I was really scared when THQ closed that I wasn't ever going to be able to play it, because the game's been postponed so much. But I think Ubisoft is the one that picks up. I think it comes out this year. There's so many good games that come out this year. At the same time, I'm kind of sad because the new generation's going to start and you're going to see current consoles get kind of tossed to the side, which I don't know. Even though like this console generation has been longer than most, I don't feel like the newer consoles are so advanced that it feels like the next level. It just feels like a improvement the way the 32X was an improvement from the Sega Genesis, and I'll probably be completely wrong like when I play it, but I feel like I'm not missing anything from this generation of games. Like I would be like playing a PlayStation 1 game versus a PlayStation 3 game, or even PlayStation 2. Like I just played The Last of Us and finished it. That was a beautiful game. So this is the whole game. Oh, they did give me the Japanese ROM. We're not going to watch the credits because I believe this video is long enough. If you never saw the end to the arcade game, that's what it looks like. I didn't look how many continues I spent, but I did a lot, but I wouldn't have spent as nearly if I didn't talk at the same time. You can get this on Xbox Live Arcade or the PlayStation Network store. there's a IBM and Commodore 64 version of this if you're curious, and of course you can play it on MAME. It's an awesome beat 'em up. I mean, there's nothing ridiculously special about it besides the Simpsons license, but it's a Konami beat 'em up. You can't really go wrong. Nice music, nice graphics, nice gameplay. Well, anyway, guys, thank you for watching and putting up with my somewhat dull commentary because, like I said, in I guess the Ridge Racer video, my grandfather passed away not too long ago, and I'm just trying to do videos to keep busy, and I'm not that perky. This stuff's been going on for a week. Like I've been saying, there's a lot of personal stuff, but I'll get back to the old commentary where I'm a little bit more excited about stuff. So if you're a new viewer and you're kind of bored by my commentary, check out older videos. Not the oldest videos, because those suck too, but maybe in the middle videos. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing and supporting this channel and staying with me even when the commentary is not the best. Well, I hope you enjoyed this playthrough of the Simpsons arcade game. Thanks again for watching, and take care. Bye.